Hello, this is Dave with the Jefferson Way, and today I'm going to be showing you how to use the Strong's Concordance. The first thing that we would do is take and locate it, which I go to Google search and type in Strong's Concordance right up here. Okay, and it takes me to a list of Strong's Concordance. Now, my favorite one is the one at www.eliah.com right here, spelled ELIYAH.com. Okay, and now this here takes us to the very first page, and we can easily take and start writing the word we're searching for. In this situation, we're going to look for heaven, okay, because it's something that's right at the beginning of the Bible, goes all the way through the Bible itself. Now, I want you to keep in mind one thing: the the Strong's Concordance only relates to the authorized King James Version, the King James Version, and I believe the NDSA or NSA or something like that version. There may be several of them listed here as shown, but the reality of it is it only coordinates to the King James Version and the authorized King James Version and that other one, to my knowledge. Because every version is written so that the author changes the words a little bit, and that's the unfortunate thing that happens with the Bible. So everybody puts their slant into what's going on. Now, the purpose of the Jefferson Way is to straighten this thinking out so that we have a more precise understanding of what was originally said and what was intended from the beginning, because things have totally changed and become politically correct so that everybody believes in what they want to rather than what actually existed. Okay, so we have this first word, heaven, and we're going to hit search, and it comes up with all the verses that contain the word heaven from the Old Testament or the Hebrew writings to the New Testament, which is the Greek writings. And the Hebrew writings words are represented by an H. The Greek words are represented by a G. In this particular situation where it's located in Genesis 1, it gives an idea of what it says in that particular sentence. It says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. That's the first time that heaven is used. So if we hit H 8064, it takes us to the word definition for that in its in the original language, which is Hebrew. And the word is Shamaim, spelled Shamaym. Now the thing is, the Greek may have, or the Hebrew may have had a different accents and things, so I have no idea, but all I know is this is what Strong says to give us some idea of what was actually being said and to understand it. In the couple lines down here, it shows the amount of translation count. That means the amount of times that this Hebrew word is used as heaven. And the total count is 420 times. Its total count for being used as heaven is 398 times. They use the same word as air 21 times, and it's referred to in astrologers 1 time. So the thing is, that gives you the total count and how this here particular word has been used. But even with astrologers, there it sort of gives a slant, that and with air to the sky and to the heavens and things of that nature. Okay, so anyway, we have Shamaim, and the thing is, it also gives a understanding too of how this is actually broken down and the definition of how it's actually used in the Old Testament. Okay, now let's go back to the word, and we're going to scroll down here to let's get a Greek word, which would be, let's do Matthew. And the word here is, if you notice, there's a word heaven, and then to its right side there is a G3772. So we click that out, and now it's going to give us the Greek understanding of the same word. Okay, now it's Uranus, okay, which I believe references the sky. more so than the other one. Okay, and the thing is, it's used as heaven a total count of 284 times, and right, total count Oranos is used 284 times. As heaven, it's used 268 times. Air is 10, and sky is 5. And then heavenly, it's used in some form of that 1,537 times. So I guess if you look up heavenly, you're going to find the word in the Greek that amount of times. And its definition refers to the vaulted expanse of sky with all things visible in it, talking about the heavens above and the word actually as we know it today. Okay, now let's take and go back to our original Hebrew word, okay, which is Shamaim. Okay, now the thing is, the Hebrews did something that we do and they did in the Greek language and all languages seem to do, is to take and pull two words together to mean a specific thing. In this case here, what we have is two separate words. One is Shama and the other is Im. Now let's see if this matches up to the same heaven that we had before. Now I know that Shama, from my own experience, I've done this for a long time, represents to hear, which is a couple letters of the heaven. Okay, so we're going to go back to 8085, and there you see Shama is spelled exactly the same way as it is in heaven, without question. Okay, now the thing is, this here has been used a total of 1,159 times, and when it gets broken down, 785 times it's used as here, and then it's used as all these other synonyms too. Now this is how political correctness comes to be, is when these words are changed to mean something other than what they actually do. In this case, we're looking at the word Shama, which means here, and then Shamaim, which is heaven, which is actually contained in two words. So pretty much here, the thing is, the overwhelming understanding of this is to listen, is to hear, also to be understanding. These are the words that are representative of Shama. Now let's go back and see if we can find the Im part. Okay. Now I know that just from my own experience on this, that the word right is the word that brings us closest to Yamaim. Okay. And that one there is a Hebrew word, 3231. Okay, which takes us to Yaman, almost like Yemen. And here, okay, it's only used a total of 4 times, this particular word, but if you go on either side of this number, 3231, say down to 3228, and up to 3235, you will find words that are similar to this, and just about every one of them refer to the right, or like the right hand, or something being right rather than anything else, like the right hand of God, or whatever it may be. So now if we go back, okay, let's go back, and we do heaven again, and we do a little search. Okay, and we come up with Shamaim again. Okay, so pretty much now the thing is, we have two different observations of what Shamaim might mean. Okay, one is to hear right or rightly, and the other one is a place in the sky. Now, what I like to do in doing these word studies is take and say to myself, now, which one of these is more practical and makes more sense than the other, So the thing is, to me, I stop and I think about heaven, being someplace up in the sky and in the heaven. It's not definable at all. There's no definition for that because you can't see it. It's not visible. There's nothing there. But the thing is, if I take and look at this as Shama as being here rightly, now it takes on something that I can take and more or less observe, you might say. If I hear the words and I'm thinking of them rightly and understand them, it's sort of like having an education, going to college, and you understand what's being said, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, the thing is I can relate it to my own life as something that is very, very real. So when I hear the word heaven, to me, it means to think rightly. I mean, that to have the right kind of thought and a right understanding of a particular word. And with that, it brings a lot of understanding, because then you don't become confused and persuaded by political correct words and things of that nature, and you can get a true meaning about what's actually being said. And with this here, it seems to me that the heaven that God is talking from the original language, if I use these two words broken down, it means that heaven is a place to where I do the right thing. I think rightly. I hear what I hear. I am seeing and observing as to be true. It'd be just like God giving me a command or doing something and being able to see that and observe it and have it be a part of my life and have it be real, versus something that would not be real, that would be a deception. If I'm thinking rightly, then I understand correctly. Okay, so anyway, this is just to give you an idea of how I use the Strong's Concordance. I take the words because many times anxiety is created by not understanding what's really been said without any kind of examination or accountability. So anyway, I hope that this may be helpful for you in understanding a little bit about the Strong's Concordance and also how to use it. You can use it in any way that you like, any way that God leads you, because our relationship with God is sacred and individual. So I'm just trying to take and throw some helps out there to make life a little bit easier for anybody looking for understanding. Thank you for joining me today in the Jefferson Way.